HERMENEGILDE MWAMARAKIZA and his wife Jean-Marie are still grieving. 3 years ago, their 15-year-old son was killed by security forces in presidential election violence. He was among the first to die in protests against President Pierre Nkurunziza, who then won a controversial third term. Their other son is in jail for life, convicted for participating in an attempted coup against the president.
Every other time, the police come here to search our homes for weapons, and this creates a lot of tension and fear. I personally don't have any weapon.
Since the protests and coup attempt in 2015, hundreds of people have been killed. About 400,000 are still in refugee camps. Both the government and opposition have been blamed for the violence. Today, the kind of scenes witnessed back then are gone, but people are still living in fear and uncertainty.
Human rights and opposition groups have leveled accusations of abuse at government forces and members of the ruling party's youth wing called Imbonerakure. They say people were killed, beaten and arrested in the lead-up to the referendum on constitutional changes.
Being isolated.
AGATHON RWASA is one of the few opposition leaders still in the country after many were forced into exile. He says there's no freedom of expression or media.
If you hear that there are disappearances here and there, this means that after all, the situation is not that good as one could pretend. Because everybody needs to live quietly in his village or in his area, in cities or elsewhere, and security must be guaranteed to each and everybody.
But state officials blame the opposition, human rights groups and other international bodies of tarnishing the image of the country to put pressure on the government to hold talks.
It seems that some individuals are trying to manipulate even the UN Security Council so that Burundi can accept to violate its own laws and go to negotiate with coup plotters.
Many people in the city told us that the security situation has improved, but they also hope there'll come a time when they can freely talk about important matters that affect them without fear of arrest or intimidation. Catherine Soy, Al Jazeera, Bujumbura.